I'm JC. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Stonewall Museum hosts Brian McNaught for powerful live conversation on faith and LGBTQ plus identity. Stonewall National Museum Archives and Library in Fort Lauderdale is spotlighting the intersection of faith and LGBTQ plus identity with a special live conversation on December 8th featuring acclaimed author and advocate Brian McNaught. Best known for his memoir, A Prince of a Boy, How One Gay Catholic Helped Change the World. McNaught brings decades of global work on compassion, equality, and spiritual reconciliation. His journey began with what he describes as a painful turning point, being dismissed as an altar boy because he was gay. The moment, however, sparked a lifelong mission of outreach that has taken him to churches, offices, and campuses across Mumbai, Tokyo, Singapore, Hong Kong, the UK, and North America. His message is clear. Faith and LGBTQ plus identity not only can coexist, but can strengthen one another. According to Robert Kesten, Stonewall National Museum's president and CEO, as a community, this is a quote, as a community, we often view religion and sexual orientation as two separate entities, with many of us even viewing the former as an enemy due to how it's been used to stifle LGBTQ plus stories and happiness. McNaught's appearance are a perfect example of how these aspects of our lives can intersect, paving the way for better equality. End quote. A conversation with Brian McNaught takes place on Monday, December 8th at 6 p.m. at Stonewall National Museum featuring Fort Lauderdale. Admission is free, and for RSVP, you can reach Monique at stonewall-museum.org. Now, maybe you can speak to this coming from Texas, but I grew up Catholic. I was baptized, communed, confirmed, and then I ran away from it.
Right.
So I love this conversation because as much as I don't need religion anymore, I have a lot of friends who will definitely love to have this conversation because it's something they don't want to run away from.
Right.
It's something that they need in their lives that it's not nostalgia. It's like that they need to reconcile with because it's what was instilled in them. And sometimes it's hard to get your mind to pull away from what you know and what you love. And then your church telling you that you're essentially going to hell, you know? So I love this conversation. I think it's going to be great to have, but maybe you can speak more on it. Coming from Texas, I know it's a big,
it's
church.
Huge. Yeah. We're literally sitting on the property of Sunshine Cathedral.
Yeah.
Which is why this news piece is exactly why this church and this property has existed for many, many years. Being a metaphysical minister myself, I was ordained many years ago, and I struggled with my sexuality. I used to pray that I would wake up straight. Isn't that awful to say? I remember that. And I would cry myself to sleep. And it just breaks my heart that there are still people in the world, a lot of queer people in the world that are under religious oppression. And I think this news piece really speaks to the fact that there are people willing to stand up and speak on the issue in the world, to bring it forward, to shine it, to share it. It means the world to me. God don't make no mistakes. And my sexuality has nothing to do with religious doctrine. That is my opinion.
That's great. Religion is confusing enough. And, growing up myself,
it's meant to
during, those, formative years when you're becoming a teenager for me and also dealing with my sexuality and stuff, it just got so complicated. So I understand why so many of us kind of turned our back to these type of, these type of religions, I would say. But, it's amazing now that we have such people coming forward to share their stories and just kind of like getting us to relate to one another because, I don't know if people kind of experience, like I didn't know that of you, like what you experienced from, growing up. So, that gives commonality and gives more of a voice to this. So, I look forward.
Yeah, I mean, I do. And I wonder if people will go back to the church. I wonder if we speak on it in a way that will entice people to go seek God again, or go seek maybe a higher power that they can pray to, that will give them some peace, some solace, some understanding that we just have to be good people in the world. I don't know that this is going to work. I just love that they're having this conversation.
Well, I think people are, as we know, a lot of people are leaving churches and religion, but they're seeking spirituality. I think it's just an innate part of what I believe to be our soul, really just kind of rising up and recognizing that we're more than these human bodies. And so that's why we have so many media media news pieces and TV shows and events that are really spiritually oriented. So I'm totally excited to see where humanity goes in the future around religion, spirituality.
Especially in this political climate, right? Because they keep using religion against you, and they tie it to a party.
They've always used it against us. Yeah, they're very adept at doing that, right?
They really
beat us with the Bible, right?
They really are. And it's not, they really are. I remember, I'm just thinking of my grandmother beating me up with the Bible. All right, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.